Have you ever lain awake at night, staring at your bank balance on your phone, feeling that tightness in your chest, and asked yourself, why does money always feel like it's running away from me? Why do I work so hard, yet somehow end up with so little? And then you see other people who seem to have money flowing to them effortlessly, without burning out, without begging, without compromising their integrity. And you wonder, what do they know that I don't? What if I told you that the difference isn't your job, your education, your background, or even your luck? What if I told you that the difference is one single thing, and that thing is the way you think about money, wealth, and abundance? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't theory. It isn't fluff. It's the most practical, grounded truth I've ever learned, and it changed my life completely. Let me paint a picture for you, a picture that might feel uncomfortably familiar. Imagine this. It's the 28th of the month. You check your account. Again, your stomach drops. The numbers are smaller than you expected. Again, you start calculating rent, groceries, that credit card bill, that loan payment. Your mind races. You feel dizzy with the math that just doesn't work. You've worked all month. You've said yes to extra shifts. You've skipped lunches. You stayed up late. You've done everything right. And yet, there you are, still scraping by. And then the voice creeps in, the quiet, insidious voice that says, you're not good with money. You never have been. Your family was broke, so you'll be broke too. Rich people are lucky, but you're not one of them. That voice becomes a lullaby. You hear it so often that you start believing it. You start expecting the worst, and the worst shows up, right on schedule. You avoid looking at your finances because it hurts. You avoid thinking about wealth because it feels like a cruel joke. You avoid dreaming about abundance because dreams feel like mockery. And the worst part, you blame the world. You blame the economy. You blame your boss. You blame your parents. You blame your circumstances. But here's the bitter pill I had to swallow, and the one that set me free. Money is not the problem. My thinking about money was the problem. I used to think wealth was external, something you chased, caught, held on to, and prayed you wouldn't lose. But that chasing, that desperate grabbing, that constant fear of loss, that is exactly what repels money, wealth, and abundance. Because money isn't dumb. It doesn't go where it's needed. It goes where it's welcome. And if your thoughts are filled with fear, scarcity, guilt, or resentment toward money, then money feels unwelcome around you. It stays away. It finds someone else. Someone whose thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are aligned with receiving it. That realization hit me like a freight train. I wasn't being punished. I wasn't unlucky. I was simply broadcasting a frequency of lack. And the universe was matching it perfectly. So I decided to change the frequency. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you now. Let's break this down into 3 core principles. These aren't abstract philosophies. They're practical, actionable shifts that I've used myself and seen work for others over and over again. Most people think that their financial situation causes their thoughts. I'm broke, so I think about being broke. That feels logical, right? But it's actually backwards. Your thoughts are the cause. Your circumstances are the effect. I know, that sounds upside down. But let me give you a real example. My friend David was a freelance graphic designer. Talented, hardworking, reliable. But for years, he lived paycheck to paycheck. He'd land a client, do the work, get paid, spend it all, and panic about the next one. His internal dialogue was constant. I never have enough. Projects always dry up. I'm one bad month away from disaster. One day, I asked him, David, if you had already made $100,000 this year, how would you think differently about your work? He paused. He said, I'd feel relaxed. I'd feel confident. I'd take on only the projects I loved. I'd invest in better equipment. I'd charge more because I wouldn't be desperate. I said, then start thinking that way now, even before the money arrives. He thought I was crazy, but he tried it. Every morning, he'd write, I am a high-value designer. My work is sought after. Money flows to me consistently. He'd say it even when his bank account said otherwise. Within 6 months, not overnight, but steadily, he got a referral to a corporate client. They paid him triple his usual rate. Then another client came. Then another. He raised his prices, and nobody flinched. He didn't change his skills. He changed his thinking. His financial reality followed. Your mind is the blueprint. Your bank account is the building. If you change the blueprint, the building has to change. Here's something that shocked me. Wealth isn't about a specific dollar amount. It's about a feeling. Many people think, I'll feel abundant when I have $1 million. But the truth is the opposite. You'll get $1 million when you feel abundant. Abundance is a frequency, a vibration of gratitude, openness, and trust. It's the feeling that there's enough, not just for you, but for everyone. It's the certainty that opportunities are everywhere. Money is a renewable resource, and you're capable of creating value. Let me give you another example. I once worked with a woman named Lisa. She had a good salary, $90,000 a year. Objectively, that's solid money. But she constantly felt poor. She obsessed over sales, clipped coupons, stressed about retirement, and argued with her husband about every expense. She asked me, how can I attract more money? I said, Lisa, you already have more money than most people on this planet, but you don't feel abundant. You feel scarce, and that scarcity is a frequency that blocks larger sums from coming in. She didn't believe me, but she agreed to a 30-day experiment. Every day, she'd write down 5 things she already had that money couldn't buy: her health, her children's laughter, her safe home, her talents, her freedom. She'd pause and actually feel gratitude for those things. She stopped complaining about bills. She started giving small tips generously. She donated $5 a week to a cause she loved. Within 3 months, she got a promotion and a raise to $115,000. Then her husband got a new job. Then a small inheritance arrived unexpectedly. Coincidence? Maybe, but I don't believe in coincidence. I believe her frequency shifted, and the universe rearranged itself to match. Abundance isn't about having everything. It's about appreciating what you have. And that appreciation invites more. This is the deepest one and the most uncomfortable. Most of us didn't create our money beliefs. We inherited them. Maybe your parents said, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy, or we're just not wealthy people, or you have to work yourself to the bone to earn a living. Those statements weren't neutral. They were programs installed in your mind when you were young, impressionable, and defenseless. And those programs have been running quietly in the background of your life, sabotaging every attempt you make at building wealth. Here's a powerful example. I had a client named Marcus. He was an entrepreneur, brilliant, driven, full of ideas. But every time his business started to grow, every time he got close to real success, he'd sabotage it. He'd pick fights with partners. He'd make careless mistakes. He'd pull back from marketing. On the surface, it looked like bad luck. But underneath, we uncovered a belief. If I become rich, I'll become arrogant. I'll lose my friends. I'll become the kind of person I despise. His father had drilled into him. Money changes people, and not for the better. Marcus was terrified of becoming someone he hated, so his subconscious kept him poor to protect his soul. I asked him, what if he could be wealthy and generous, and humble, and kind? What if wealth could make you more of who you really are? He cried, because he'd never been given permission to think that way. We worked on rewriting that belief. Every day, he'd repeat, "Wealth allows me to help more people. Money amplifies my character. I am safe, loved, and generous, whether I have $10 or $10 million. Within a year, his business doubled. He hired employees. He started a foundation. He became exactly the kind of wealthy person he once feared. But now, he loved himself for it. Your beliefs are not permanent. They're just habits of thought. And habits can be changed with repetition, intention, and patience. So let me bring this all together. Thinking about money, wealth, and abundance isn't about pretending to be rich when you're not. It isn't about ignoring reality or skipping bills. It's about choosing a different lens. It's about recognizing that every thought you have about money is either a bridge or a barrier. Every thought is either opening a door or locking one shut. Your current financial reality is not final. It is not destiny. It is simply a photocopy of your dominant thoughts, your consistent focus, and your deepest emotions about money. And the beautiful, liberating truth is this: you can change the original document anytime you want. You don't need a windfall. You don't need a lottery ticket. You don't need a miracle. You just need to change one thought about money today, then another tomorrow, then another the day after. Because wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you attract. And attraction happens when your inner world and your outer world are in perfect alignment. If this message hit you somewhere deep, if you felt that spark of recognition, that quiet rebellion inside you that says, "I know there's more for me," then don't let this moment slip away. Subscribe to this channel right now, because I'm not here to give you feel-good quotes and empty motivation. I'm here to give you practical, proven, daily practices to rewire your thinking, unlock your abundance frequency, and finally break free from the cycle of scarcity. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and let's do this work together. Because your wealth isn't out there waiting to be found. It's in here, in your thoughts, waiting to be unleashed. Let's unleash it today.